Hey, it's music journalist Justin Cantor here with my buddy Chester, and I'm here today to present to you Cherry Pop's new reissue, a 2 CD one of Sheena Easton's best-selling album of her career, her fifth one entitled A Private Heaven. Now this comes in a beautiful case, and I know you can't see the fine print here, but it has a total of 31 tracks. So let's take a look and talk about it. It has the trifold case, I believe it's called. And here are the 2 CDs and a nice photo collage of single covers in here. And the booklet is inside the first fold, and it's a very nice booklet. It includes extensive liner notes by Adam Matera, formerly of Attitude magazine. And the liner notes are really cool in this one because they include interviews with the album's producer, Greg Matheson, who also wrote or co-wrote many of the songs, as well as singer-songwriter Robbie Neville, co-writer Charlie Dorr. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. She is the main writer of Strut, which became the first big hit from this album, which, by the way, was certified gold and platinum in the U.S., selling over 1 million copies. Let me check my notes here. Also, Tim McConnell, who is the singer and songwriter of Swear, which he first recorded and Sheena covered for this album and became the third single in the U.S. Sorry, that's really bright. Speaking of Swear, here's shots from the video of that and some other ones. And also, Hard to Say It's Over, which was originally slated to be the fourth single, well, at least it was vied for to be that, and Sheena performed it on a lot of TV shows at the time. A great power ballad, co-written by Tom Saviano. He's interviewed in here as well. So lots of insights from the players on this album. Okay, so I want to talk about the content of it. Of course, you have the original 10-track album, which, aside from Strut, includes the massive single Sugar Walls, which was definitely cementing Sheena's image change. That was actually written by Prince as Alexander Nevermind. He didn't want to put his name to it at the time, but that became the first of many of their collaborations, and Greg added his touches to it. And it's interesting to me when I listen to that song in particular, because I think a lot of times, since Prince tended to do all the instrumentation and vocals on his recordings, we assumed that he was singing on it, but I was looking back and noticing that Richard Page, Steve George, and Tom Kelly were the male backing vocalists on a lot of the songs, and you can certainly hear them on there that it's not Prince if you listen carefully. But anyway, Strut was the first single in the U.S., as I mentioned, and the B-side from it was Letters from the Road, a song which is included as a bonus track on this reissue. Now that song is interesting to me because it was first recorded by the late Stevie Woods in 1981. He had an album of the same name, issued only in Germany, I believe. And later it was covered by a Japanese artist. I think her name was Remy, R-E-I-M-Y. My friend Raymond was the one who introduced me to that. But here's the original 45. Anyway, there were B-sides to the other singles from this album as well. Straight Talking was one that Sheena herself co-wrote, which was unusual for her at the time, and I like that song. And that's actually brings me to one of the really interesting features of this reissue, which is that there are a lot of instrumentals here. You can see there are 8 different instrumentals, not just the single tracks like Strut, Sugar Walls, and Swear, but also Back in the City, which was the first single in the UK, which I love. Very groovy Latin feel to it. I had interviewed Greg a little while back for another project, a reissue of some Denise Williams material, and I mentioned to him how that's one of my favorite songs of his. He had also, by the way, produced a lot of Sheena's album previous to this one, which was Best Kept Secret. The Devil in a Fast Car, for instance, he wrote that one. Straight Talking, the B-side, that's really cool. There's also an instrumental to that, as well as Hard to Say It's Over, and a song called In It to Win It, which there doesn't appear to be in existence, as they mentioned in the notes here, vocal recording of it. But so it'd be interesting to know what that's all about. But there also are alternate mixes of 3 songs on here: Hungry Eyes, Hard to Say It's Over, and Sugar Walls. The Sugar Walls one is really interesting to me because it's called a long Roman mix, and it's an alternate extended version, which includes some alternate dialogue by Sheena where she's talking about her house being cream colored with a red roof and having peaches in it. So that was a hoot to me. That was one of the real treats of this set. Now, Hungry Eyes, I had mentioned, not the other famous song, but anyway, this is the Japanese 45 of that, by the way, and it wasn't released in other countries as a single. But that is, as I mentioned, included as an alternate version and also an instrumental. And all of the 12-inch mixes are included, the original release ones of Strut, Sugar Walls, and Swear. Back in 2000, a company called One Way had done a single disc reissue, and some of those were included, but not all of them, I believe. And anyway, one of the real cool treats of this is Have You Ever Been in Love, a song that some people might know by Leo Sayer because he ended up having top 10 UK hit, I think, in 82 or thereabouts. It was originally in a song for Europe by one of the writers of the song, whom, if I check here, I can probably figure out quickly. Andy Hill, I think he had a group called Gem that performed that. So Sheena's version has never been released until now. And anyway, suffice it to say that this is a really good treatment of A Private Heaven, which was a real turning point in Sheena's career. Of course, she'd had really big hits up till this point with more adult contemporary leaning fare like Morning Train, 9 to 5, Modern Girl, Winnie Shines, I Wouldn't Beg for Water. She had started to experiment with new wave on Madness, Money, and Music in 1982 with Machinery, but that didn't really go over so well. But certainly with the start of Best Kept Secret in 83 and Telephone, Long Distance Love Affair, the transition began. And, I think Greg really had the perfect touch for what she was doing here, with blending the synth styles of the day with the pop rock flair. And, you know, uh, unfortunately, after this album, when she went to work with another producer, the great Nile Rodgers, it didn't fare as well. So this album stands out as kind of a little bit of the epicenter of her career because, of course, she did go on to further big commercial success in the late 80s with The Lover and Me, which I know Cherry Pop was one of their first reissues many years ago. But this was definitely a focal point, and so there's some cool insights, and I'm looking forward to the box set of her albums, which I don't know if it's due later this year, but I know that Cherry Pop has that in store. They also did last year a fantastic 3 CD set, I believe called the Definitive Singles. I reviewed that on Blog Critics, and that included all of her charting UK and US singles, as well as some unreleased tracks. So I definitely recommend checking that out if you haven't. And anyway, there's another 45 of Swear, which includes the B-side Fallen Angels, which is also a bonus track on here. So I highly recommend Cherry Pop's Sheena Easton, A Private Heaven 2 CD reissue with 31 tracks total. The original album, the 12-inch mixes, B-sides, previously unreleased Have You Ever Been in Love, alternate takes of Hungry Eyes, Hard to Say It's Over, and Sugar Walls, and a whopping 8 instrumentals. I personally am looking forward to singing to the instrumental of Back in the City, even though it doesn't include the horn arrangements. I guess it was an earlier cut of it. But Love and Affection, by the way, cover the Joan Armatrading song, which Sheena mentioned in a older interview that's quoted in here, had been a favorite of hers at the time when it was out in the 70s. That's another great album cut, as well as Double Standard, which is the closing track. I think that's a really cool tempo of time feel to it, that kind of has a certain edge to it, a little different than Strut and Sugar Walls and Swear, which all had a very distinctive percussive element to it, which Greg talks about in the liner notes as well. So anyway, give this one your time. I think it's worth the investment. Definitely worth ordering if you're a fan of Sheena Easton, even if you have the original album. Lots of cool bonus content, hidden treasures, and very well written essay in the booklet, which made the listening experience all the more cool. All right, so anyway, thanks for all your support, and support great reissue labels like Cherry Pop, who continue to put out fantastic CD reissues. I mean, even in this world where digital has you know, just kind of ruled the world for over a decade now. It's just wonderful to still be able to get these reissues and hold them and listen and explore and just enjoy them without all the distractions going on your computer or smartphone. So really take the time to sit down and just listen to it, dance along without any other distractions, and you'll rediscover how awesome this music is. Okay, enjoy. Peace.